Today I'm going to show you how to make a haunted house poster in Gravit Designer. First, let's open a new document. Go to File, New Design. And this time I would like you to click on Print Paper Size and choose A3, which is 11 by 17. It's a nice size for a poster. On the first layer, what I'd like to do is place a gradient. So I'm going to make a rectangle that's the same size as my canvas. I'll click the fill button and choose orange and choose linear gradient. Now those are the colors I want, orange to black, but I want it from top to bottom. Something like this. Next thing I'm going to want to do is place an image on here of my haunted house drawing that we did in class. So first of all, I'm going to go to my Finder and I'm going to find where I put that image on my computer. For me, it's in Downloads. So I'm going to find the image here and double click on it. The program that will open my image is called Photoshop. Yours may be a different program, but it doesn't matter. All we're going to do is take a screenshot of the picture, and I'll show you why. If you go look at the image size, in Photoshop you go to image size. This is a photograph I took of a drawing. And if you look at this, the image size is 34.9 megabytes, which is huge. The width of my picture is 56 inches and the height is 42 inches. I don't need anything that big and if I were to put this whole large image in my Gravit Designer file, it would probably slow things down and make it difficult to work. So the way we're going to do this, you can go ahead and change the width and height, but what I'm going to do is just take a screenshot of the picture. Because all I need is to be able to see it briefly in order to draw over it. So now I just have to import my screenshot into Gravit Designer. Let's take the opportunity to save this. Let's give it a name of Haunted House, or in my case, Haunted House 2, and save it. Okay, so we go to File, Import, Place Image, and it will automatically place this image on a new layer. Yep, there's my picture. Now I can make it larger if I want. I can move it around, decide where exactly I want to put it. I can even distort it if I want, make it longer. If you want it to stay the same proportions, you hold Shift down while you drag out a corner. I think this looks like a pretty good position for the house. So I'm going to leave this here, and this layer is called Screenshot, so I can just let it stay saying that, Screenshot. Now we're going to create some new layers on top of our screenshot on which we're going to create shapes for our haunted house. Okay, so mostly I want to use the pen tool for this. If you click on the pen tool, we can click around the outside of our haunted house first. And if you need to zoom in so you get a better view of what you're doing, on a Mac it's Command plus. On a Chromebook, as far as I can tell, it is Control Shift plus to zoom in and Control Shift minus to zoom back out. So sometimes that will help you get a better view. And this one I want to be curved, so I'm going to click and drag it out, and look how that curve is going right where I want it. When it gets to that point, I'm going to stop and let go. I'm going to put my next point here, and I realize that that loop is not the way I'm going to want it, but I'm going to come back and fix it later, and I will show you how to do that. Let's just go up to this rooftop and click and drag to get a little curve. And then we'll go down to this rooftop, click and drag to get a little curve. And I'm going to click up here, and I realize there's a little loop again that I don't want, but I can fix it later. I'm going to click at this point and drag to get the curve. And I'm going to click here and drag in the direction of the line. I'll go back and fix that bit later. I'm going to click here. I'm going to click all around the outside of the house, trying to match the curves and draw my path right on top of my pencil lines. Just going around the outside at this point. Okay, and that's that path. We can go back to our first point to close the path. And that's going to cause it to fill with a color. The color I'm going to want it to be is black. So I'm going to go ahead and choose black for the fill. Click in the canvas somewhere. If you make an extra point you don't need, just do a Control Z, undo, or Command Z on a Mac. Now, in order to see our picture, we need to reduce the opacity of the black. So if you go to the opacity slider in the appearance menu on the right, click on the slider button and bring it down until you can see your lines through the black fill. Now we're going to go back and correct some of those points that didn't turn out exactly like we wanted. The way that we do that is here at the pointer tool, click the little triangle for the drop down menu and choose the sub-select arrow. We select this point and we go over to the appearance menu on the right and we choose disconnect. It's the third picture on the right where it says joint. Just click on disconnected. And then we'll come over here to the point again, grab this handle, and we'll turn it. We'll slide it over until the line goes where we want it to be. Same goes for this point here. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to choose disconnected. And then I'll grab this handle and swing it around till the line goes where I want it. Same with this point here. I'm going to disconnect the point grab the handle and turn it around. Okay, maybe this point here too. Let's disconnect the joint and drag that handle around. That seems okay. All right. So let's call this path in the layers panel, double click on where it says path and call it house. So we will know which one it is, then hit return. Now let's start doing our windows. Again with the pen tool. We're going to fill every little section of these windows with yellow. So I'm going to click here, here, down. I'm going to make a square for each little window and fill it with yellow by clicking the fill color button and choosing yellow. Okay, so let's do the other side. Click, click, click. Okay, there we've got 2 windows, and each window is making its own layer, and each one will be called path unless you change the name. We'll continue like this until we've done all of the windows and also the door. Okay, now if I click on the layer called house, I can bring up the opacity to 100% and we can see what we've got. Remember that you can make a layer disappear by clicking the eye that toggles visibility to hide the layer. So if we go to our screenshot and we hide it by clicking the eye, we can see what it's going to look like when we disappear, make our drawing disappear. So that's what our final poster haunted house will look like, because we're not going to show the drawing in the final version. Let's turn the drawing back on for now so we can do the moon and the tree. The moon will be the easiest because we can make that with the ellipse tool, and we can make that any size that you want it to be. So you can experiment with it. If you hold shift down, you'll make a perfect circle. I'm going to try something like that, and I'm going to choose a fill color of yellow. And I'm going to label this ellipse moon and hit return in the layers panel. Okay, let's go back to our pen tool to make our tree. We'll just start at the bottom, maybe zoom in a little bit, Command plus on a Mac, or Command Control Shift plus on a Chromebook. And let's start clicking and dragging around all the curves of the tree. In general, you just want to drag in the direction of the line that you're following. Click and drag. And just like before, we can go back and correct things that didn't turn out exactly like we wanted. Click. Click and drag. Click and drag. Now if that yellow fill starts to get in your way, just go to the opacity slider and bring it down. Try and click your way all around the tree, and then finally click the first point again to close the shape. Let's do a command minus or control shift minus on a Chromebook to zoom out and see what we've got. Now, I don't know about yellow for a tree color, so I'm going to try something different. We should definitely name this path tree so we know which one it is. Let's select it with the pointer tool and change the fill color to brown. We still have our opacity slider down, so we can bring it back up now. Okay, so you can play with that color, even give it a gradient if you want. Alright, I think we're done with our drawing now. So we can go to the screenshot and click the eye so that we can't see it anymore. And there's our image. If you want to put any of your other drawings in here, you certainly can do that. It'd be nice to see a witch flying across the moon, or maybe some bats flying in the sky, or maybe some tombstones on the lawn. I will leave it up to you to create those things. The only thing I'm going to do with this now is add some text to tell you that it's an event poster for a haunted house. To add text, we click on the text tool and we'll click where we want our text to go. And we'll write out just the word haunted. Now I'm going to select this text so I can make changes. First of all, I want it to be bigger. So I'm going to see what 60 points looks like. That's pretty good. I might even want more, like 72. And I think I want to look for another font that looks more Halloween-y. So if you click on the font menu, which says Open Sans for me, you can scroll through all of these fonts and look for something that looks a little Halloween-y. You should be able to read it. So this one, New Rocker, doesn't look too bad. Oh, look, that's very haunted looking. I like that. So I'm going to go with the New Rocker font at 72 points in black. Now, if you want to change the color of your font, you can choose a color here. There's a color picker right next to the font selection drop down. Okay, and I think I'm going to put the house part a little bit over here. Oops. I'm going to select the text tool. We'll click here. I'm going to write house. Select it and make sure that we've got that font that we wanted. It's called New Rocker. I want to drag the text that says house on top of the moon. Now, with that box around it, I can make it move up a little bit. So that's about where I want it, I think. If you want to make text bigger than 72 points, you can. Let me show you how. I think I want to make this haunted house even bigger. So I'm going to double click on it just with the pointer tool selected, and that will create a box around it. That means that it's selected. You can use that box to move your text around. You can also go over here to the text size drop down and just double click on that so it's highlighted. Type in whatever number larger than 72 you want to try. I'm going to go for 100. Yeah, I like that better. So here's the example with all the needed text entered in. We've got haunted house as the biggest text at 120 points now. Then we have Miller Creek School Presents up here. It's much smaller. And we have the date here, and the time, and the place, and the cost. So you can fill that text in on your poster any way that you feel like. And I look forward to seeing your results. If you want to add some of your other little drawings, one way to do that is to make a separate file and create the little object and then group all the pieces of it and then copy it and paste it in to your poster. Okay. That's all for this video. See you next time. Don't forget to save your work.